Hey, I'm Connor Woodard, and this is the Rookies Weekly Update for the third Friday of September, and let's jump straight into what's happening with Unity. This is a rapidly evolving story that I'm sure you've heard a lot about, but let me see if I can give a top-level overview as I understand this whole situation. Unity decided that it would start charging its developers 20 cents per installation of their app. That may not seem like a lot, but for many games, indie and otherwise, that fee could be millions of dollars. This could essentially be the death of free-to-play games on Unity. Developers would need to monetize their free-to-play games even more to compensate for the unpredictable Unity fees that could be backbreaking. If a game is lucky enough that it becomes popular quickly, either organically or through a sale, or by being included in a subscription gaming service, then they could be slammed with fees that they did not anticipate. And Twitter has been downright ruthless about it. Developers of all sizes have released public letters that are really damning. Innersloth, who make Among Us, say this would harm not only us, but fellow game studios of all budgets and sizes. Developer Aggro Crab explains further, their game will be free to install for the 25 million Game Pass subscribers. If a fraction of those users download our game, Unity could take a fee that puts an enormous dent in our income and threatens the sustainability of our business. Now, to explain further, this is probably the reason why Unity is doing this at all. Subscription gaming services are becoming more and more popular, and because there are no direct sales running through streaming services, Unity wants a piece of this type of action. And they may even be justified in doing so. I'm not a developer, and so I had to research a lot to even understand what's happening here. But from my layman's perspective, Unity has basically created this pricing structure because they're taking on some type of burden, installing all these different instances of the game without any sales. So Unity is trying to even that out with charging per install. And since their announcement set Twitter and their reputation on fire, they've tried to walk back some of the more extreme installation examples. They've said they won't charge for reinstalls to prevent installation bombing, which is a brand new nightmare born of this brand new monetization strategy. And they won't charge for pirated installs, trials, web and streaming games, and charity-related installs. How are they going to track reinstalls? No idea. How are they going to determine fraudulent or pirated installs? They basically say they'll try real hard, and also you can submit concerns to their fraud team. Not a fun solution. They also did respond by saying that these changes will only affect devs whose games make more than 200,000 revenue in a year and over 200,000 lifetime installs. And not or. They say that more than 90% of customers will not be affected by this change. But that's not really making anyone feel better, because the dream of being an indie game developer is to not stay in those 90%. It's to make a game that affects millions or makes millions or both. So if you do pursue that ambitious dream using Unity and you happen to beat all the odds and achieve that goal, it'll cost you an unknowable amount of money. There have been some mathematical comparisons made that show the difference between Unity and Unreal pricing, but then there's been other mathematical comparisons that say they will get hosed, and there's just been a lot of arguing. Look, I wanted to give both sides of the argument here, but honestly, I think Unity really stepped in it. However, the reaction to this update has ranged from negative to a little bit toxic to actually dangerous. Bloomberg reports that Unity had to close offices due to death threats. Yeah, some of the memes were funny, but everyone needs to calm down, form thoughtful opinions, and share them in a peaceful way. I think the thing that pisses people off the most about all of this is that it came completely out of nowhere with almost no runway, giving developers only 3 months before this goes into effect. But they knew they were going to do it at least 5 months ago, because in April they changed their terms of service to be retroactive, meaning that this new pricing structure is going to affect games that were released before the price changes. Reddit has been absolutely going off, with some pretty solid memes on the topic, and apparently some Unity employees are even leaving over it. It does make me wonder how Apple's going to respond to all this, because Apple Vision Pro was leaning pretty heavily on Unity, and Apple and Unreal Engine don't have the best legal relationship. On the very same day that Unity made their announcement, Godot launched their development fund, and I've never known how to pronounce it, whether it's Godot or Godot, so just tell me in the comments. And if you don't know what Godot is, it's an open source game engine. Their financial model and development strategy is very similar to Blender's. This took me most of the day to research, understand, and form an opinion on, but this is not my area of expertise. If I didn't get something right, or if you have information that I missed, or an opinion that you want to share, please, let's continue the discussion below. Unreal Engine and a brain implant are all working together to give a paralyzed woman her voice back. This has all of the ingredients for warm fuzzies. It also gives us an example of how AI can be used in a way that doesn't suck. Embergen is looking so nice. Real-time manipulations of forces, camera, lighting, and collisions. Watch the way this disrupts the steam on top. That's so cool. Artie Burton over at 80 level has posted about Armor Paint 0.9, which looks a lot like an open source version of Substance Painter. It's available on desktop, iPad, and Android. And right now it's $19. I'm a huge Substance Painter fan, but I'm happy that this is out there. Unreal Engine has published September's featured free Unreal Marketplace content with a Quest Editor plugin, ArcViz interior models, a Safe House model pack, a Palace Hall, and a melee combat system, all for free. Apple announced Procreate Dreams, which is basically 2D animation software based off of Procreate, which rivals After Effects in what it's capable of. It's also not a subscription model, and it is only $20. And I also just love that Apple isn't losing its mind to AI. It seems very focused on empowering its customers. Patrick Bostwick posted the 2023 Gaming and Entertainment Salary Guide, which is a great downloadable reference for industry members of all departments and levels. If explosions are your thing, you may want to check out theoryaccelerated.studio. They've got a bunch of free simulation workshops just ready to be watched and learned from. WetaFX is doing some pretty cool stuff to celebrate Maori Language Week.
Over the last couple of years here at WetaFX, Te Komitsu Māori, the Māori Advisory Group, have been outputting these little videos to encourage the adoption of Te Reo Māori, the Māori language native in New Zealand, into our common vernacular. Welcome to He Kupu, Māori phrases for your everyday VFX edition.
If you're interested in adding some Te Reo words into your vernacular, I'd say give this LinkedIn post a watch. Karawhia. There was a post on the VFX subreddit, which is just a really sad reality of what the VFX industry is going through right now. I won't read the whole thing, but I want to highlight a couple of points. The majority of VFX does not have a union. In terms of the visual effects industry, the biggest question is, the longer this drags out, will there even be an industry to go back to? SAG members talking smack about the visual effects industry, which shows an amazing lack of respect and knowledge. People seem to be experts in an industry they know nothing about. Post-pandemic, the schedules became unrealistic, the workload was too heavy, and no one was changing delivery dates. This was the period of visual effects started getting a bad reputation of looking shoddy and cheap in some shows. Studios were putting 10 pounds of potatoes in a 2-pound sack. There simply wasn't enough time to do quality work across the board. Right now, artists working at visual effects companies are being laid off in droves. There has never been such a large group of people on LinkedIn open for work, and it's scary. With no end to either strike, where does this leave the visual effects personnel? Will artists come back to an industry that trash talks them, undervalues them, and disrespects them? Will there be a functioning visual effects industry to come back to when all the dust is settled? While this is hard to read, all the people that I talk to in visual effects are feeling the same way. If the visual effects industry doesn't change to a more stable, healthy environment for visual effects workers to thrive in, we may see that talent go to other sectors where it's being treated better. In response to these hard times, the Visual Effects Society and the Lefort Talent Group are hosting an online panel discussion Monday, September 18th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, that was the news. Let's talk about jobs. Giant Animation is hiring for all of these roles. Hitmarker posted another mega list of junior job openings in the games industry. There is an XR Talent Expo September 28th to the 30th for individuals and businesses in VR and AR. It is a 3-day expo with lots of networking events, panels, and demos. This looks super cool. Atomic Cartoons in Vancouver, BC is hiring. Lev Kolobov is looking for in-house London compositors. Stim Studios hiring comp, lighting, 3D generalists, and effects artists. And Blizzard is hosting Environment Art Portfolio Critiques September 21st at 5 p.m. Pacific. The first featured Rookies Profile of the Week belongs to Anna Ronaldin and Sergette Maxime. This whole scene was a beautiful storytelling collaboration. The next featured artist is Sarah Castelli for excellent groom work. The next featured artist is Jesse Patella for this spaceship booster fire done in Niagara Fluids in UE 5.3. The next featured artist is Alban Murley for their experimentation with metaballs and geometry nodes in Blender. Super cool. The last featured artist is Arthur K7 for their Interstellar Black Hole done in Unreal Engine 5. My favorite part about this is they show all the breakdowns on how it's built inside of their ArtStation page. Dancing Unreal Engine actors holding Unity's coffin makes up the meme for the week, as disrespectful as it might be. I apologize if I seemed a little bit more tired than I normally am on the weekly update. Because the Unity story was changing literally on an hour-to-hour basis, this one was actually quite difficult to produce. I really hope you found it useful, and I would love to continue the discussion with you in the comments below. If you learned anything in today's update, send it to a friend. That would be doing us and them a real solid. Thank you so much for watching, and you have yourself an amazing weekend.